Hello. Did you know that queer people exist and have existed as long as humans have been around? Yet for most of history, they have been overlooked, silenced, and oppressed to the extent that even queer representation today makes most people go, what are these strange new concepts I need to learn to refamiliarize myself with the world? Well, fortunately, while queerness is neither new nor strange, we at The Mesh are here to help you understand. This video series is a curation of unique experiences and stories, as told by those who live these stories themselves. Welcome to
And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Queer Diaries, where we talk to members of the LGBTQIA community, especially about their hobbies, their interests, their passions. Today, we have a very special guest with us, my dear friend Sparks Lowry. Sparks, tell us a little about yourself.
What can I say? I'm just a bitch who likes soap operas. You know, I like movies. I like soap operas. I like punk rock, ska, ska kid till I die. You know, and this little guy, he's my best friend in the world. This guy, Berkeley. Um, he's seen fit to join us today. Isn't that right, Berkeley?
That is an honor for us
Yeah, he's
to have a special guest on our
he's
debut
the real
episode.
special guest.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you love your best friend and you love the movies. What have you been? Have you been watching anything interesting lately?
Oh, what can I say? I am constantly watching watching stuff. Tonight, I'm going to see a re-release of Rebel Without a Cause on the big screen. Very excited. For Pride Month, I watched several films starring my favorite closeted gay man, Tom Cruise. Um, we to catch up with the Mission Impossible series. You know, I had to watch all the rest of them. You know, uh, for the new one, which was brilliant, a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
I
Um,
do need to check that out. Speaking of,
and
yes,
today I
speaking
was
of,
watching.
yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I was saying, speaking of Rebel Without a Cause, I've always taken issue with that name because did have a cause.
He did have a cause, yes. He did have a cause. He's not even, and he makes up with his dad by the end of it. It's not a terribly rebellious ending, you know. I
Yeah,
do love Nick Ray, one of the great filmmakers. I love all his stuff. Um, Johnny Guitar's, a huge favorite. Um, in a Lonely Place, God, what a guy. Uh, Earlier today, I was watching like Mario Bava's miniseries version of the Odyssey that he did in like the '60s.
huh.
I can find it all on YouTube. It's pretty solid.
I'll have to check that out. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on to the questions of identity.
Hmm.
So, to begin with, was there a specific ah moment for you, or did the knowledge of your identity and the feeling gradually settle in?
There were a couple specific moments where I kind of realized I was uh, more uh, gender, for the lack of a better term. Uh, but it is mostly just a uh, gradual course of realization. I think. But that's I don't know. That's what we're constantly coming to. I feel like
Yeah,
Um,
I suppose there's a moment of realization, and then there's a period of acceptance.
and and that never ends. I don't know. There's this constant like. I mean, a lot of periods in our lives are more like transitional than others. I'm
Yeah,
certainly going through a lot of that right now, but like it's constantly coming to new forms of self acceptance.
true.
Um,
I mean, to live is to change, right?
hmm.
So, how is the transitional period treating you at this moment?
It's 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 something else, but I'm making my way through it. We all have to, but it's a little hard, uh, if I'm being honest. But I'll get there.
Yeah, we're gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it.
So, so as for the realization, was there any specific piece of media that played a significant role in coming to understand yourself better?
I mean, this won't surprise you, but Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch is a big one for me.
Right, right.
In terms of uh, visualizing uh, how I felt about myself. Uh, Oddly enough, like a lot of the pre transition like Against Me records, like reinventing Axl Rose. That was a big one for me. Um, the Titus Andronicus record, uh, the Monitor, and especially Local Business, which I mean these don't have a lot to do with gender on their own per se, but I don't know, something about them really clued me in. Um,
Um, I disagree. I think I actually get a lot of flack from other film enthusiasts for making the argument that Sucker Punch is a celebration of unabashed uh, expression of gender.
oh, Sucker Punch, I would say is the exception here, but I
Yeah,
mean, like the Monitor is probably not like
yeah,
a particularly gendered piece. Um, I guess Local Business kind of touches on that, but
right.
on occasion. But shout out to Patrick Stickles, Titus Andronicus, uh, a hero of mine.
All right. Let's move on to the more specific details. Walk us through a day in your life. What's it like? Did you choose life? Did you choose a career? Did you choose a family? I totally go for the big fucking television though.
Oh, nice, nice. Uh, I, uh, I would say I chose life and a career. I usually will just wake up at around 7:30. Take this guy for a walk. Um, uh, Go to work uh, for like 6 hours out of the day, and because my main job that I'm in right now, they have a limited number of hours due to the budget. I'll go there uh, for like six ish hours out of the day, and the rest of the time I'm pretty much free to do as I want. So sometimes I'll nap, sometimes I'll just go out looking for adventures in the DMV area. um, Sometimes I'll hang out with my buds. Uh, big trivia enthusiasts. We have a trivia team on not every Wednesday, but most Wednesdays. But we go do that. It's a lot of fun.
When you say hang out in the woods, do you just like go for walks or do you go camping or
We'll just hang around in like usually my friend's apartment or like my apartment, um, or just go to like a bar or something. Go for a walk, all sorts of things. But it's there's no. I'd say there's no shortage of things to do in this area, but that's probably not true. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot you can do with people whose company you enjoy.
yeah, absolutely. So, are there any specific parts of your day that have changed in any meaningful or significant ways over the years? You know, directly as a consequence of you coming to terms with your identity.
My day's a lot more.
I think Sparks got cut out for a minute. We'll just wait for him to come back. Yeah, meanwhile, it's a great opportunity to tell our audience about the series. So, there is not a lot of variety when it comes to content about members of the queer community. And usually, when there is content about members of the queer community, usually people are reduced to their identities, their sexual identities, their gender identities, instead of being seen as complete and well rounded people. So, what we're trying to subvert here is that we're going to focus on other aspects of their lives. Just like the rest of us, there are people who have passions, they have hobbies, they have interests, they have things they care about outside of their identities. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Sorry about that. My computer crashed.
That's Sparks.
Oh no.
We were talking about parts of your day that have changed as a result of you coming to terms with your identity.
I my day is a lot more structured these days. I used to be a lot more rambling back in the day. Um, as recently as like just pre-pandemic, but um, uh, it
Right.
it's
So
no, it's a lot more. It's a lot more structured, and I'm not sure that's really to do with coming to terms with my identity, but I do. I guess it kind of is because I feel more like a person, you know.
yeah.
Um,
So do you aspire to structure, or is it something that's just gradually become a part of your life?
it's just gradually become a part of my life. I don't know. It was something I realized I needed to do after a
Right.
certain point. But it's not something I uh, aspired to be. You know,
Ironically, neurodivergence requires structure,
that's
but
true.
neurodivergence also prevents you from,
That
having a
executive
structure.
dysfunction hitting. Uh,
Oh yeah, that executive
oh god,
dysfunction.
that's been a big trouble for me. But make it work. Make it work.
Yeah, one day at a time. right?
One day at a time. Yeah.
So, do you ever feel the sort of imposter syndrome that comes with passing as cis het?
Oh God. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That's been a big issue lately. I think is like just not feeling like I present exactly the way I want to, and it's harder. It's easier to envision in your head than to just put out into the world. But
Right.
no, it's been a big problem lately, and it affects can affect your relationships. It can affect your interaction with people. It's just it's hell, man. It's hell.
It is hell.
Uh,
Uh,
nah.
you know what Sartre said, right? Hell is other
Mm.
people.
Hell
But
is
yeah,
other people. Yeah.
I do understand the struggle, the constant struggle between wanting to be loved and absolutely being terrified of being perceived.
God, it's a hellish dichotomy that we all deal with it. It's nothing I'm going through that others haven't gone through. But,
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily even a neurodivergent or a queer thing to feel that way. It's just,
oh no, that's dare I say a millennial,
huh?
a normal millennial Zoomer thing.
Yeah, yeah.
The dog
So
has left.
that's okay. We still have a little friend here
Oh,
with
yeah.
us. um, do you ever, feel guilty or punish yourself because of this sort of imposter syndrome that you experience, not being able to present yourself the way you are, the way
All the
you'd like
time.
to?
All the time. Those intrusive thoughts, those are those are the worst parts of my day. But you know, it's as long as you're not letting it set you back in any significant way, that's something.
How do you deal with your intrusive thoughts? Do you have a system in place, or do you just, let them wash over you and fade away?
I let them. I find it's best to let them wash over me and fade away because like letting them letting yourself fully realize what it is you're thinking to yourself is sometimes the best way to realize actually it's not the right thing to do. But,
Yeah, I realize the importance of, fully feeling things in order to get over them when one of my friends told me. So this was following a particularly difficult breakup, and a friend of mine told me that don't worry, time heals everything. And another good friend of mine told me that time does not do anything. Doing things changes things.
mm, I inclined to agree with your second friend, but um, I don't know. Sometimes it's
Yeah, you
just
just gotta, you just gotta let the feelings flow through you.
sometimes it's just easier to let it pass, let it wash
Yeah,
over you. But
yeah. So David Bowie once said that he loves to see people being dangerous, and you know, uh, do you think he was onto something about outcasts seeking risky behavior? I mean, there has been a lot of discourse about the subject, but specifically in terms of identity, do you think that's something that holds true?
I mean, there is sort of a rationality to that because people are when a sort of establishment that you distrust and you feel is pushing you away is like telling you that something's not a good idea. Like why shouldn't you think that is a good idea? um,
I think there's also an element of I'm nothing like you to it.
yeah, I would I can see that.
Um,
Just trying to be
but
as
yeah,
trying to distance yourself as
yeah,
far as possible in terms of ethos from certain people. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
You also had a bit of a punk phase. Pat the Bunny once sang, took the needle out of my arm about a year ago today. Every day since then, I've been taking the needle out of my brain. Does
on my
that
brain.
resonate with you still?
Oh God, yeah. I and Pat the Bunny himself and I had a talk about that many years ago actually because I saw him
That is
on I don't know what
fascinating.
tour it was uh but it was at the lab in Alexandria and it is just something I think a lot of former uh, people with a lot of people who have struggled with substance abuse kind of just like they feel like they'll never live it down, but it's it's
Once you're
it's something
you
you
know
have
what
to
they say,
deal with.
once you're an addict, you're in recovery for the rest of your life.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually have
I think one of the best
great guy,
representations of
Pat
that
Bunny.
I've seen.
Wonderful man.
I think one of the best representations of that idea I've seen was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In one of the early seasons, Dennis and Dee get addicted to crack,
No,
and
yeah.
yeah, incredible episode, just brilliant comedic writing. But then years and years, like seasons later, I think there's an episode where there's a woman who's addicted to crack, and
Mm,
Dennis enters her room as she lights up a crack pipe, and he
mm,
instantly says, "This is no longer a safe space for me." And then later on in the episode, Mac, who was binging on food at the time, asks Dennis what is the one thing he wants more than anything else right now? And he's expecting Dennis to answer with like a food related answer, but instead
mm.
Dennis says, I would like to do crack
Crack
cocaine
cocaine.
instantly without thinking. And I think that perfectly encapsulates, how you might have gone years without using, but it's always like the nagging little feeling that, oh, maybe just a little bit, maybe just once more. I think it never really fully goes away, does it?
No, I gotta agree, but I do I I have you telling me that is the first time I've like actually heard that punchline because I have not caught up on the newer seasons. My buddy keeps badgering me, but uh I do think some of the funnier representations are generally more uh, accurate, because
I
you gotta have a sense of humor about
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah, yeah. I think I think the darker the subject matter of the show is, the funnier it
Mm.
gets. It's just one of those shows that makes it work.
Nah.
But you should catch up on the more recent seasons. You should definitely watch. I think you enjoy the season in which they. Uh, I don't think this counts as a spoiler, but in the most recent season they visit Ireland.
I probably should. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I'm so behind on television. uh, besides Degrassi, I'm finally I finished
Yeah,
all of Degrassi: The Next Generation. Um,
the backlog is the curse of the enthusiast.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And the watch list keeps growing ever higher. You know.
Um, you've mentioned Train Spotting as one of your favorite movies about addiction, and I agree. I think it's one of the very few movies that gets addiction right without dehumanizing the addicts themselves. So,
No.
um, there's a scene in the movie where one of the characters, Begbie, he hooks up with a trans woman and he's
Mm,
mortified at the idea. And
mm.
our protagonist, Mark Renton, what he has to say is 1,000 years from now, there will be no guys and no girls, just wankers. Sounds great to me. What do
Mm.
you think of that?
I uh I can't say I can't say that's it's a fun line, but I can't say I think about what the world will be like 1,000 years from now. In fact, I try not to think about it. If we make it that far, but I
If we make it that far.
yeah, if we make it that far, hopefully so. Um, but no, I no, I try not to. I try not to think about that. Think that far in the future.
Yeah. The future, we started talking about the future, and I had to grab my little buddy for comfort. Uh, but yeah, let's get back to your favorite closeted gay man, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, my favorite, my favorite closeted gay man.
Yeah.
All the great Scientologists are kind of kind of closeted. Um,
Hmm.
John
John
Travolta,
Travolta?
Will Smith. Um,
Hmm. Uh, what about Elizabeth Moss?
jury's out. Jury's out on that one. We'll figure it out.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, but yeah, Tom Cruise. He mentioned how he would do imitations to entertain his sisters as a kid. Do you think the inherent drive to entertain is essential for an artist?
I don't know about that. Maybe to entertain yourself, but
Hmm.
because as long as you feel internally satisfied by what you're doing, that's uh something. But I do think a lot of artists rely on the reactions of others. They do crave approval. Um, that it's not always something that
The
really interested me, but because a lot of my bigger projects were purely self satisfaction. It was purely a joke uh, that only I found funny. Like that's
oh yeah, the
that's
best art
just
is
who
always
I
the
am.
art you make for yourself. I think.
Yeah, always.
But do you draw a distinction between a good artist and a good entertainer?
Uh, I would draw that distinction, yeah. But I do think I do also just believe in like I mean anyone who knows me thinks like I don't care for the so bad it's good thing. I don't think that's a thing. You know, if you enjoy something, you see some merit to it as like a piece of art. You know, um, but
Uh, oh
uh,
yeah, I think I was once asked by one of my close friends what my guilty pleasure is, and I said I simply do not experience guilt.
don't feel guilty for the shit that you like. That's
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Um, so, coming back to artists, do you think it is productive to talk about getting an artist? You know, understanding their vision or whatsoever it may entail.
I don't know. I do. I think it's productive to you know go for a further level of understanding. I would say that is maybe uh better than discussing like perceived quality. You know, I think that's a lot more interesting of a discussion. Um,
Right.
um, uh,
Do you subscribe to your authorial intent? Gen?
what was that?
Do you generally subscribe to your authorial intent, or are you more of a death of the author guy?
Uh, I I have been known to uh put death of the author out there, you know, but I think it's misused a lot of the time. But
But you dabble.
uh, what was that?
But you dabble.
I dabble. I dabble. You could say. I don't think intent is the end all be all of you know a piece of art. I think there's a lot more to how it comes out. Um,
Right. Um, you've spoken really highly of Twin Peaks, and you even rated Blue Velvet as one of your favorite films. Would you say that you get David Lynch?
I wouldn't say Blue Velvet's one of my favorites. I do really
It,
enjoy
it
Blue
is one of
Velvet.
your highest rated films, though.
I'd rate it 5 stars. It's a good. It's a great picture.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, the
no,
question: would you say you get David Lynch?
I don't want to. I don't want to seem, you know, vain or presumptive saying I by saying yes. But like I would probably say yes. I don't know. Like he's the cool thing about David Lynch is he is just pop Americana, and that's like that's awesome. But,
Yeah.
but he's like evil pop Americana, especially Blue Velvet's kind of about like people talk about it as if like there's evil lurking underneath the surface, but it's like no, it's really just about how every one of us is at our heart just kind of fucking like evil. And that's cool. I love watching that.
Hmm. Oh, I have a I have a little hack for you. The next time someone asks you if you get a particular artist, just say, "Oh, I just vibe with them."
I just vibe with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, coming
That's
back to
probably more accurate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, coming back to the idea of evil Americana. To me, Lynch's work has always had this quality, this old-timey, whimsical air about them, except from an old time that never actually existed in the real world. Do you think
Hmm.
this sort of surreal absurdism is what makes him so much more appealing to people who feel more alienated.
I would say it's sort of appealing to the alienated, but like bringing them into the larger culture. I feel like, so I mean, a lot of his best known works are. I can't even call Twin Peaks like a cult classic at this point. Like that's just a because like that was what that was like the biggest fucking show in its first season. It was like everyone is fucking talking about Twin Peaks, you know. But like it is sort of bringing people into the fold, I guess, rather than like I guess deliberately appealing to the alienated, but in a roundabout way. Yeah, I would say that.
So, if you had any expectations from aspiring queer filmmakers, what would you want from them? Explain in 2 words. I'm just kidding. No, no,
2 words. No.
no. Seriously, what would you like to see more of?
I don't know. I I this isn't queer specific, but it does go back to 90s nuclear cinema and stuff. But a lot of the micro budget guys I admire, friends of mine and stuff. I won't name names, but a lot of them are really like influenced by Greg Araki, which it's not something I often see in like the mainstream, I guess. But I'm really loving that. I'm really loving that. Uh, and uh, I I oddly enough think that we need to make a comeback to like Hal Hartley throwbacks like that. That's sort of the only good things about Gen X are those sort of filmmakers. I think we need to go back to taking more influence from. But um, I do. I'm not sure that's necessarily queer specific, but
Um,
yeah.
The Crow is a queer specific Gen X movie. Would
No,
you
yeah,
agree? Yeah, and
yeah.
you like The Crow, right?
I love The Crow.
Yeah. So
Proyas
what?
in general, I think is a lot of
I've
fun.
I've read the graphic novel and I know the backstory behind it. I haven't watched the movie, but what theme drew you to the movie the most? Like, was it revenge, grief, mortality, justice, or just being an absolute goth icon?
I would say grief, but
Right.
the being a goth icon doesn't hurt matters, but grief is every every frame of that film is like tinged with fucking grief, like there's that is definitely like,
Even
even if you didn't
beyond,
know about Brandon Lee, like
yeah,
that
exactly what I was
you
getting at.
kind of tell like
Yeah,
that's a movie where like
yeah,
the lead actor, something happened to him. Let's just say,
yeah.
rest in peace,
Um,
the legend.
but yeah, that is a bit heavy. So I'm gonna lighten the mood with a little bit of a softball question.
Hmm.
Are you feeling the multiverse fatigue?
Oh god, yeah. Oh yeah. I I I have not seen the past couple multiverse pictures because of this. And I don't know, not a concept that interests me terribly. I think it's like main character syndrome shit. I don't know. But, I haven't seen Everything Ever All at Once. I haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen Multiverse of Madness or
or No Way Home, or The
I
Flash.
did see No Way Home because my buddy took me to see that. I guess I did see The Flash,
Also,
but
we
I
stand
paid for
Tugboat
I paid
Maguire.
for a ticket to Fast X, and then I snuck in to see The Flash.
Also,
Doing
No
my
Way Home,
duty.
you gotta watch it because we stand our boy Tugboat Maguire.
Our guy Tobey Maguire, he's looking rough.
He
He's
is.
looking rough. Yeah, yeah. He's fun in it. I enjoyed him in Babylon a lot. I don't know if you're a Babylon head.
I really enjoyed the kind of energy he brought in his brief appearance in Fear and
His
Loathing in
one
Las
scene,
Vegas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Two members of the Pussy Posse in that scene.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know if that was
yeah.
intentional. I don't know if that was intentional. We're talking. We need a Pussy Posse movie. I think I'm the person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm the person who should make the movie about the Pussy Posse.
Uh, would you cast me?
Yeah, I will cast
Whom would you cast me as?
Tobey Maguire.
All right.
David Blaine. David Blaine was part of the Pussy Posse. So, yeah.
David Blaine, yes.
David Blaine, yeah.
All right. So I've gone a little bit Nardwar here.
Oh,
We'll
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
just scroll through your letterbox for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And The Matrix is one of the movies you've given a perfect 5 star. Was that prior to or after your knowledge of the trans allegory of the movie?
I mean, I think when I logged that, I knew about the. I think when I logged it last, I knew about the trans allegory probably because I probably logged that like right around when logged it last, right around when Resurrections came out.
Right.
But which I love Resurrections. I think it's a great picture. But I think they tap into some of the most cum-brained, like kind of vulgar, exploits of trans people. A lot of fun to be had in those. But yeah.
Upon revisiting the Matrix movies, the trans allegory is pretty
Oh
transparent.
yeah,
But I think the issue
it's
was
about
that
him it's about Neo not wanting to be dead named.
yeah, oh yeah, there is literally a scene where Neo does not want to be dead named. I
Yeah.
just remember that. But yeah, I think the only reason I did not get the trans allegory at first was because, like, not just me, everyone I know watched The Matrix at a really, really young age, like around the age of 10, 11, something like that, as like this cool action movie, action sci-fi movie. So I think the allegory went over a lot of people's heads, which is why people refuse to acknowledge it now because, oh, it wasn't this way when I watched it as a kid without any understanding of what it is about.
I might agree. I don't know. It's just weird that allegory went over a lot of people's heads. I don't know. I did see like a horrible review of Bound by the Chaskies that was like this is good, but it was definitely directed by a man. Like, come on. Just one Google search.
Okay,
Hmm.
Sparks, you have bewitched me body and soul, and I love, I love you, and wish from this day forth never to be parted from you.
Which,
Have you ever been in love with a capital L?
without going into it, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
You have?
Which Pride and Prejudice are you quoting there? Which
The one starring our boy Tom Wamsgam.
Tom Wobsgans. Yeah, McFadden's a lot of fun, but no,
Yeah,
I won't go into the particulars of that. But absolutely, absolutely, I would.
yeah. Without going into the particulars of it, do you cherish the memories? How do you feel about it? I mean, uh, just whatever you're comfortable with sharing with us.
Uh, I would. I still cherish the memories to this day. Um, not all that long ago, but I still cherish the memories. It's a uh, wonderful time.
Yeah, it is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite romance movie?
My favorite romance film. I It's hard to say. I don't know if Long Day's Journey into Night counts.
Hmm.
Um, Miami Vice, a lot of Michael Mann stuff. I think is just
Hmm.
incredible romantic pictures. But I do. If we're verging into like rom coms, romantic comedies, I love Valley Girl. Valley Girl's incredible. Clueless, Moonstruck, um, uh, and honestly, the Pride and Prejudice you mentioned is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that in
uh,
particular.
do you like? Are you a fan of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet?
There's a lot of fun to be had with that one. I wouldn't say I'm particularly drawn to like the romance aspect of that one, but that one's
Yeah.
just like insane. How about you? What are your favorite romance films, my friend?
Not a romance film, but my absolute favorite love story in a movie is the first 10 minutes of Raising Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Ah,
It's
that's a
really
great
sweet.
picture. That's a great picture.
Yeah.
One of the best looking
It's also one of the,
films.
yeah, the cinematography is incredible, and I also think easily, uh, it easily has the best opening scene out of the Coen Brothers movies.
I'm a huge proponent of Sonnenfeld as a DP for the Coens. I think is a lot better of a fit than Deacons. Just a lot more interesting stuff going on there.
But yeah, I haven't explored a lot of romantic films. I watched her at a very formative phase of my life, and it just left me feeling pessimistic because I probably just completely missed the point of the movie. Um, then there's the Before trilogy.
The what?
The Before trilogy, Before
Oh, the Before
Sunrise.
trilogy. A
Yeah,
lot of. Have you seen Past Lives by any chance? The
I have
new
not.
picture.
I have not.
I think you'll really enjoy that. If you really enjoy the Before trilogy, then you'll really enjoy Past Lives.
Hmm.
Um,
Outside of movies, I think my favorite love story is a short story by O. Henry called The Gift of the Magi.
The Gift of the Magi. Yeah.
Yeah. You're familiar with it, right?
I have not read The Gift of the Magi in some years now, but honestly, when I think of it, I think of the AJJ song. um, like The Gift of the Magi. Um,
All right. Coppola is another one of your favorites, right?
oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the best of the movie brats, I think. Even
Right.
better than De Palma.
Right.
Um,
Right. So the question I had was, Coppola once spoke about how he's been accused of making films all about solitude, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that is something people have mentioned to him. Do you agree with
it's
that? And if you do, is that something that draws you to his work?
I would say it's certainly a recurring theme in his work. You know, that is something I enjoy a lot about, say, Twixt, which I adore Twixt. I think that movie is incredible. That was a big picture for me when I first saw it because I just didn't know you could make movies like that. But like yeah, even in that, which is like maybe his most outlandish, it's there's uh, a solitude to uh, Hull, Baltimore. You know, that is kind of grounding it, and you know, especially to um, Michael Corleone, you know, and even to like uh, Tucker the Man in His Dream is this sort of like rugged individualist, which that's a great picture about like making art, you know. Uh, but I would absolutely say that certainly draws me to a lot of his work.
Um, you also enjoy the work of the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
solid act.
yeah. So Hoffman talked a lot about the difference between pleasure and happiness. What is happiness to you?
I would say there's more uh, contentedness in happiness than in pleasure. Yeah, pleasure is pleasure's
Hmm,
more temporary. Pleasure's
fleeting.
fleeting.
Yeah. Although, if you could feel one for the rest of your life, would you pick pleasure or would you pick happiness?
I would take happiness. I'm perfectly content being content,
How?
or would be perfectly content being content.
See, I can never make my mind up about that because um, oftentimes I am seeking, I engage in thrill seeking behavior because I, I'm like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. I demand
Calvin,
euphoria.
you're like
And then at
Tracy
other
Borg.
times, I'm like, okay, this is too much fun. Need things to calm down a bit. So, yeah, for me, it's like a constant struggle between like trying to just trying to find a balance between pleasure and happiness.
Oh yeah, it's it's I I might agree with you there. I don't know. Balance is definitely important because, and I come to think of it, I do. I have engaged in my fair share of thrill seeking in my time, but I don't know. I'm in my my I'm old in punk years now, so getting
Um,
up.
so speaking of balance, um, Would you like to go for the somber conclusion to this interview or the not somber conclusion to the interview?
Maybe the not somber conclusion. I don't know. End it
See,
more
see,
upbeat, you know.
see. If you'd pick somber, I would have said, "Do you ever think about death?" But since
Mm.
you picked the alternative, I'm going to ask you about life and legacy because with Brother Roy, there's no escaping the introspection spiral.
Oh, yeah. God, I life and legacy. What would you ask me about life and legacy in particular?
Mm, In terms of art, since we have been talking about art for the last hour,
It's all you leave behind, you know. Um, but I do think it is obviously important to leave a personal stamp on the people you knew and loved. Um, it's not an easy answer, but it's something I wonder about all the time. If my demeanor is, too much, if I'm uh, not gonna be remembered fondly, But um, try not to get too caught up in that. But
oh yeah,
it's
absolutely,
something you can't help but
yeah.
wonder about. Um, and I really would just say don't it's not about like the size of the mark you make just so much as like if I were to have one friend who cherished me for all their days, that's that's corny, but it's something I'd be happy with, you know.
Um, I mean, corny or not, I mean, just because something is tried doesn't make it any less true, right?
Yeah. What can I say? It's good. It is good to love your friends. I don't think that's a particularly controversial
Yeah, yeah.
statement for me to say. It is good to love your friends and to love being cherished by them.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tug on your heartstrings and say that it isn't controversial to say that it is good to be your friend and to be loved by you, Sparks.
I love being your friend, Abhishek. You're a wonderful presence in my life, and
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I really I appreciate you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. For real,
Thank
it
you for
is
joining
great
us,
to
Sparks.
be
This has been wonderful. You're
your
easily
first
one of my
guest.
favorite people to discuss media with.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I know there are people out there who wouldn't agree, but I'm not.
Also, Sparks,
As long as the
before
people who
you
know me,
leave, before you
yeah.
leave, um, a personal favor for a friend.
Mm. Personal
Could you shout
favor.
out to Dhruv Ramakrishnan from Patrician Film Posting?
To who from?
Dhruv R.
What was that?
Dhruv. Dhruv.
Oh, Drew R. What's
Yeah.
up, Drew? I see you around sometimes, Drew. I I you've not escaped my notice. I remember things, but sometimes I do. I don't know. I have a weird memory, but I shout out to Drew. I Hope you're doing well, playa.
All right.
Again.
All right. Thank you, Sparks. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Abhishek. It's
All
been
right.
it's been a wonderful time.
I hope you have an excellent day.
I
It's
hope you do too, my friend.
it's
It's
1:29 a.m. So
it's just ending for you,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. All right. Um, this has been wonderful.
it's been
Um,
wonderful. It's been wonderful.
yeah. All right.
Take care, my man.